Niantic has just released all the details for this year's Wild Area event, and we are going to be reacting to all of these details together. I'm really excited about this one. Let's get right into it. Alright, how's it going everyone? Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. So today we're going to be talking about this year's Wild Area event, and it's because Niantic has just released a whole bunch of details for this event, and we're going to be reacting to it together. But before we do that, I want to talk about the Wild Area event because I thought last year when it made its debut, it was a huge success in my opinion. The introduction of Mighty Pokemon by itself was really exciting, but I felt like the Dynamax content as well as the rating content was all just stellar and just done really well. So I'm very much looking forward to this year's Wild Area event, and I'm really curious to see what they have in store. So yeah, let's go over the announcement together and let's just react to it accordingly. Alright, let's react to this announcement and go over the details for the Wild Area event. Alright, so this is what they say on the page. If you go to the Wild Area event page, you're going to see that it has been updated and there's going to be a lot more info. This is what they say. Pokemon Go Wild Area. The story continues. Pokemon Go Wild Area returns for 2025. In this next chapter of Pokemon Go Wild Area, get ready to test your skills once again as you encounter Dark and Fairy type Pokemon, including Grimmsnarl, the bulk of Pokemon. So I really like that they're doing this for the Wild Area event because it kind of gives this event its own identity. Like if you think about the Go Tour event that's specifically tied to different regions of Pokemon, and then of course with the Wild Area event it looks like it's going to be typing. Of course last year's Wild Area event, which was the very first one, they had Poison and Electric, and this time it's going to be Dark and Fairy, so we can expect to see some Dark and Fairy type Pokemon. Alright, so here are the dates. First, we're going to have one in Nagasaki, which is going to be their in-person Wild Area event, and that's going to be from November 7th until the 9th. And yeah, that's something we already knew. They announced the dates quite a while ago. And then the global event is going to be from November 15th and 16th, and that's going to be the dates that are probably going to matter to more people. So mark this down. This is going to be the weekend for the Wild Area event global. Let's go over the details for the in-person event first. So for the people that are in Nagasaki, these are going to be the things you're going to be able to enjoy first and foremost. The event ticket is going to cost 3,600 yen. And something you need to keep in mind for these in-person events is that if you do not buy a ticket, you're not going to experience anything within the venue. That is something that you need to keep in mind because even with this year's Go Fest and Go Tour event, I went to the live in-person Go Fest event at Jersey City, and I did come across some people who were kind of confused because they did not buy a ticket and they were like, there's no spawns, there's no Pokestops, and that's because they didn't buy a ticket. So yeah, if you're going to be in Nagasaki, if you plan to attend this event, just keep in mind that you do need to buy this ticket. And I don't know what the conversion rate is, but it's going to cost 3,600 yen. And you can buy the ticket online. Alright, so let's talk about some of the things that are going to be available. Let's actually go to the event gameplay. I'm assuming a lot of this stuff is going to overlap with the global event. We'll find out later. But first, we got the debut of Gigantamax Grimmsnarl, which is pretty cool. It's going to be kind of like last year with, I think it was Toxtricity. They introduced a new Gigantamax Pokemon, so I think for these Wild Area events, we're going to probably always see a new Gigantamax Pokemon, which I'm totally okay with. So of course, we got Grimmsnarl, which is going to be making its debut, along with Impidimp, as well as Morgrim. These are, I think, that's the evolutionary line. Pretty cool. And I do believe the shiny forms of these Pokemon are also going to debut. Alright, here we go. Rescue Shadow Darkrai from Team Go Rocket. And yeah, there you go. Shadow Darkrai. That's definitely going to be a game changer. Oh, and actually right here in the fine print, it looks like Shadow Cresselia is also going to be available, which I believe we've already had. But if you do not have Shadow Cresselia, there you go. You're going to be able to get both of these, Shadow Darkrai, which I think is going to be the first time, and then of course Shadow Cresselia, which we've already had. These are some new shiny debuts that we're going to get. Of course, with the debut of Impidimp, we're also going to get shiny Impidimp. That's going to be a possibility. Shiny Unknown W, which I think is going to be for the very first time. You're going to be able to get that. And then shiny Hatenna is going to be making its debut. Pretty cool. You're going to be able to get the location background for some Pokemon. Looks like it's going to be Shadow Cresselia, Shadow Darkrai, Beware wearing a Wilderness Cape, which I believe is the new costumed Pokemon that's going to be exclusive to the Wild Area event. And then Gigantamax Grimmsnarl. They will all have a chance of having this Nagasaki location background. Pretty cool. Alright, so these are going to be the Pokemon for this event. First and foremost, we got Gigantamax Grimmsnarl, which we talked about earlier. That's going to be from Max Battles, 6-star Max Battles in fact, so it's going to be quite difficult. And in raid battles, that's where you're going to be able to encounter, it looks like, Beware wearing a Wilderness Cape. So if you want that new costumed Beware that's going to be exclusive to Wild Area, you might have to fork up a few raid passes. Or it's going to be in the wild. We'll find out later. In 5-star raids, we're going to have both Shadow Cresselia and Shadow Darkrai. That's going to be during the Wild Area event in Nagasaki. Oh, and here are the wild spawns. So I'm assuming they're going to probably rotate these 2 hours. So 1 hour is going to be the dark hour, the next hour is going to be the fairy hour, and there's going to be different wild spawns depending on the hour. Pretty cool. So in the dark hour, you're going to see a Alolan Meowth, Alolan Grimer, Ghastly, Hoothoot, Murkrow, Sneasel, Houndour, Poochyena, Galarian Zigzagoon, Seedot, Nincada, Cacnea, Kricketot, Stunky, Skorupi, Scraggy, Zorua, Fungus, Dino, Inkay, Phantump, Impidimp, which is the new Pokemon, as well as Dreepy. And Dreepy, I believe, is going to be the one people will want to get. It's pretty rare right now, and the Pokemon it evolves into is actually pretty good. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good spawn list. There's definitely some notable, exceptional Pokemon that you could catch. A lot of shinies too. I think these could all potentially be shiny. Yeah, every single one of these can potentially be shiny. All right, let's talk about the Fairy Hour. You're going to see Clefairy, Alolan Vulpix, Jigglypuff, Galarian Ponyta, Chansey, Togetic, Marill, Snubbull, Route, Skitty, Swablu, Feebas, Cherubi, Audino, Cottonee, Esper, Dedenne, Klefki, Poplio, Cutiefly, Hatenna, Impidimp, and then Smoliv. So I like that Impidimp is going to be available in both hours, and it's going to be a wild spawn. I think that's pretty good. It's a new Pokemon, and you're going to be able to catch it. Alright, Mighty Pokemon. Yes, they're going to be making a return, and in case you weren't playing from last year's Wild Area event, Mighty Pokemon are going to have a high chance of getting attack, defense, and HP ratings being much higher. They usually have like 91%, I think, of an IV floor. I could be wrong there, but it's very easy to get yourself a hundo if you're getting a whole bunch of Mighty Pokemon. I think I came out with like 2 hundos last year's Wild Area event. So if you see a Mighty Pokemon, you should definitely go for it. And I know a lot of people got shundos from these Mighty Pokemon catches because yes, the boosted shiny rate does apply to the Mighty Pokemon. And since they have a much higher IV floor, there you go. Your chances of getting a shundo are astronomically high, which is why I think a lot of people were very hyped up by Mighty Pokemon. They're also going to have a higher chance of being XL or XXL, great for Pokestop showcases, and they're also going to be more difficult to capture. I don't know if they're going to have Safari Balls like last year. Oh wait, trainers may even encounter shiny Mighty Pokemon if you're lucky. Use the event exclusive Go Safari Ball, okay, when trying to capture these Pokemon, and it will greatly improve your chance of success. Okay, so there will be Safari Balls again, which I think is great. These Mighty Pokemon can appear during all hours regardless of their type. Mighty Pokemon are mighty rare, so make sure you have your Go Safari Balls ready. And these are going to be the Mighty Pokemon for this year, and of course, they're going to be Dark and Fairy types, I'm assuming. So Alolan Ninetales, Wigglytuff, Galarian Rapidash, Galarian Weezing, which I actually think this is going to be the first time we're going to see it in the wild, I could be wrong there. Ampharos, Granbull, Houndoom, Tyranitar, Gardevoir, Mawile, Absol, Honchkrow, Garchomp, Drapion, Weavile, Golurk, Hydreigon, Primarina, Beware wearing... Oh, okay. So Beware wearing a Wilderness Cape. That could actually spawn in the wild, and it could be Mighty. Definitely keep a lookout for those, because that is the new exclusive costume Pokemon, and it could potentially be shiny. and have high IVs. Be really cool if you were to pick up a Shundo of this. That would definitely be a great collector's item. We got Corviknight, Hatterene, which I believe is the evolved form of Hatena, Obstagoon, as well as Meowscarada. And yeah, like they said earlier, these could all potentially be shiny, and they're gonna have high IVs. So definitely be on the lookout for these if you're attending this live in-person event. All right, let's talk about the egg hatches. You're going to see Mime Jr., Sandile, Ponyard, Carbink, Impidimp, and Tinkatink in 5-kilometer eggs. And then incense encounters, you're going to get Unknown A, D, G, I, K, L, N, S, and W. I think they spell wild. I see wild in there, and then the letters for Nagasaki. Yeah, that's typically what they do. So if you're looking for any shiny unknowns of any of these letters, make sure you pop your incense and keep it open. All right, and then you're also going to be able to encounter Alolan Ninetales, Galarian Rapidash, Tyranitar, Mawile, Absol, Garchomp. Actually, are these the mighty Pokemon? Yes, they are. Okay, so you might encounter mighty Pokemon. It doesn't say if they're going to be mighty. Yeah, it doesn't say that, but at least you're going to be able to catch them. Oh, and you might also encounter the Lake Trio. Pretty cool. There's going to be a special research for ticket holders, of course. Usually it leads to something really good. It will give you in-game medals, also really cool. There's going to be timed research that'll ask you to help Shadow Cresselia and Shadow Darkrai. So there could be a timed research that's going to award you with a Shadow Cresselia and a Shadow Darkrai outright. Pretty cool. And then there's going to be an exclusive timed research for Nagasaki, the city itself. And it looks like, well, let's actually read it. During your ticketed event day, 2 unique timed research experiences will be available. Special dark and fairy type themed Pokestops will appear across the city. Oh, and the corresponding Pokestop to progress in each research. What sites will you see in Nagasaki during the citywide challenge? Oh, okay, so this seems very interesting. I did not attend the in-person Wild Area event last year, so I'm not sure if this is something that has carried over from the previous year. If it is, pretty cool. If it's not, this is definitely something new, and I think it's very exciting. So yeah, there you go. There's also going to be field research tasks that are exclusive. Yep, we all know that. Oh, and these are going to be the bonuses for ticket holders. All right, so increased chance of encountering shiny Pokemon, like I said. They are going to be increasing the shiny chance, which is, I think, worth the ticket price alone. But let's see what else they're giving you. Half edge catch distance. That makes sense. Up to 10 daily raid passes. So you get 10 free raid passes. 3 Go Snapshot surprises. Daily max particle collection limit is going to be increased to 8,000. Increased max particles from power spots and exploration. 3/4 max particle cost for unlocking and powering up max moves. I actually really like this bonus, considering that it gets really expensive to power up your max moves. You're going to have an increased chance of getting 5-kilometer eggs. Yep, that makes sense because there's a special pool of Pokemon you can get from them. Lure modules will last for 2 hours, and incense, excluding the daily adventure incense, will last for 2 hours. And then you're going to get double the candy for catching Pokemon. And then these are also going to be bonuses, but it looks like this is going to be for the entire day as opposed to just the event hours. So these are going to be during the event hours, which I believe they said was, let me scroll up here. I believe, yeah, from 9 a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. JST. So if you purchase this ticket, you fly out to Nagasaki. These are going to be the bonuses that are going to be, where is it? Yeah, these are going to be the bonuses you're going to get during the event. But these are going to be bonuses you're going to get for the entire day. The unfortunate thing is these bonuses are not really that special unless you're traveling with other Pokemon GO players. So you're going to get up to 6 special trades each day, and then you're going to have a half Stardust cost for those trades. So yeah, there you go. You're going to be able to get featured attacks. Okay, let me see here. Yeah, these are all basically, oh yeah. These are all basically Community Day moves for some of those mighty Pokemon. That's pretty cool. I think they did the same thing last year. So any of those mighty Pokemon that you get, if you want one with the Community Day move and it ends up being a high IV shiny, don't worry about using an Elite Charge TM. You're gonna get that move outright. So pretty cool. More Pokemon on routes, pretty cool. And then there's gonna be additional info. So we still have other stuff that could get announced with this event. I think they did the same thing last year. Oh, and you can get this exclusive shirt at the event. Pretty cool. All right, so overall, I think the in-person event is looking pretty solid. looks like they did a lot of really cool stuff for this. I'm assuming there's a lot of carryover from last year. That makes sense. I think last year was very successful, so why fix what isn't broken? Yeah, so if you happen to be going to Nagasaki, make sure you buy the ticket. I think you're gonna have a really good time. All right, so now let's cover the global event, which I'm assuming is going to have a lot of overlap, like I said, but let's go through it. So, like I mentioned before, November 15 and the 16 is when the global wild area event is going to happen. It's going to be from 10 o'clock a.m. to 6 o'clock p.m. local time on both days. And then, yeah, looks like there is going to be a ticket. So, if you purchase this ticket, you're going to get a whole bunch of bonuses. I'm assuming an increased shiny rate as well, but at the very least, you're going to get this new avatar item, which pretty cool. All right, so let's see what we got. Yep, Grimmsnarl, Gigantamax Grimmsnarl. The Grimmsnarl family is all stuff we already covered. Yep, Shadow Darkrai is also going to be available for the very first time, and it looks like also Shadow Cresselia, pretty cool. Yeah, this is all pretty much the same stuff. So everything that I covered with the in-person event looks like it's going to be mostly the same stuff. But there's going to be a new special background, I'm assuming for those same Pokemon. Yeah, Shadow Cresselia, Shadow Darkrai, Beware wearing a Wilderness Cape, and Gigantamax Grimmsnarl could potentially have this background. It's basically going to be exclusive to this event. You're going to have no other chance to get this background for those Pokemon, so yeah, definitely a cool collector's item. All right, featured Pokemon. Yeah, in max battles, we got Gigantamax Grimmsnarl, pretty much the same. 3-star raids, we're going to have Beware wearing a Wilderness Cape. Yep, exactly the same. Oh, okay. So, Saturday, it looks like you're going to encounter Shadow Cresselia, and I'm assuming on Sunday, you're going to encounter Shadow Darkrai. So if you want, let's say, Shadow Cresselia, Saturday is going to be the day that you're going to want to raid. If you want Shadow Darkrai, then it's going to be Sunday. I'm assuming Shadow Darkrai is going to be the higher priority Pokemon because that might actually have some significance in raid battles, whereas with Shadow Cresselia, that might be just exclusively for PvP. And I think even then, it's not necessarily that good. But Shadow Darkrai, I think, could be at least an A-tier raid attacker when it comes to dark types. So yeah, this one might be the one you will want to go for. All right, so we got, just like the in-person event, you got rotating hours with different spawns. Looks like they're almost pretty much exactly the same as the live in-person event. Yeah, they're pretty much identical. Mighty Pokemon. Oh, okay, so looks like we're going to have different Mighty Pokemon on different days, right? Yeah, I'm assuming, yep. So they pretty much just cut it in half, and then depending on the day, you're going to have different Mighty Pokemon. I don't necessarily think that's great. Per se, only because let's say you could only play on Sunday, but you want a Mighty Tyranitar. Unfortunately, you may not get it. Yeah, I don't necessarily dig that. But on Saturday, you're going to encounter Mighty Wigglytuff, Galarian Rapidash, Tyranitar, Mawile, Absol, Golurk, Hatterene, Obstagoon, as well as Meowscarada. And then on Sunday, you're going to see Alolan Ninetales, Galarian Weezing, Granbull, Houndoom, Gardevoir, Honchkrow, Garchomp, Drapion, as well as Weavile. So yeah, there you go. Interesting and kind of unfortunate. Let's look at the 5-kilometer eggs. Yep, pretty much the same Pokemon. Mime Jr., Sandile, Pawniard, Carbink, Impidimp, and Tinkatink from 5-kilometer eggs. And then from Incense encounters, looks like these are pretty much the same from the Mighty Pokemon. It seems less though. Could be wrong. Ticket holder exclusive Incense encounters. So if you're not buying the ticket, but you still want to play during the Wild Area event, you're still going to be able to encounter these. But if you purchase a ticket, you're going to get additionally all of these. So Unknown D, I, L, and Y, or W, spells out wild. Alolan Ninetales, yeah, it's the same ones from up here. But I think these could potentially be mighty. Yep, mighty Pokemon. So these are the mighty Pokemon you might encounter. And then some trainers might even encounter the following, the Lake Trio. So something to keep in mind is that let's say you can't play on Sunday or Saturday, like I said earlier, and you want Mighty Tyranitar. Take a look at the Incense spawns and see if it'll spawn on Sunday. Yeah, that's something you could definitely keep in mind. Ticket holder exclusive special research, pretty cool. Field research that's going to be available to everyone, pretty cool. We got some bonuses. This is going to be for every trainer during the event. Up to 3 free raid passes for everyone. The max particle collection limit is going to be increased to 1600. And then free snapshot encounters. Pretty cool. And if you buy the ticket, you're going to get the increased shiny chance. Great. I like that they're including that for the global event as well. Unfortunately, it will be paywalled, but that's expected. The max particle collection limit is going to be increased to 3200. Kind of weird that they didn't increase it to 8,000 like the Nagasaki event, but it is what it is. Max particles from power spots and increased, exploration. You're going to get an increased amount. 3/4 max particle cost for powering up max moves and unlocking them. Up to 6 free raid passes. I'm assuming this is going to be on top of this, so you're actually going to get a total of 9. I could be wrong there, but you're going to be able to get 6 free raid passes if you buy the ticket. Pretty cool. Double the amount of candy whenever you catch Pokemon, and an increased chance of getting 5-kilometer eggs for the 5-kilometer egg pool. Have egg hatch distance, lure modules for 2 hours, and then, 6 Go Snapshot encounters. Something I'm not noticing here, though, is the incense duration is not going to be 2 hours. Oh, that's a bit of a bummer. Ticket holder exclusive, you're going to get, it's the trade bonuses. We already talked about that. And then, of course, the community day moves are pretty much going to be the same. All right, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's pretty much, like I said, very identical to the Nagasaki event, but there's a few notable differences. In terms of the ticket price, I'm assuming it's going to be from like, I don't know, between $12 and $15. Let's actually take a look. Do they even have it up yet? It doesn't look like it. They got the Go Pass stuff. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Oh, the Go Wild Area Ultra Ticket Box. All right, so they have this. It's going to be a bundle for the Wild Area ticket, and the bundle is actually $12. So you do get the ticket and a bunch of stuff for $12. I'm assuming the ticket itself, by itself, is going to be cheaper than that, but I'm actually not seeing it on here. Usually it's up here. Yeah, but there you go. Ticket box is going to be $12. So that could be a pretty great deal, especially if you plan to play for both of these days. So yeah, I think this is all looking really good. So yeah, there you have it. This is all the details for this year's Wild Area event, and I'm sure there's going to be more details that will be released as we get closer to the date, so definitely be on the lookout for all of that. And that's going to be it for this video. Definitely share your thoughts regarding everything that I talked about down below. Is there something in regards to this event that you are looking forward to? Definitely share what that is in the comments, and let's have a great discussion. And thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if it's your first time here, and don't forget that notification bell so you know exactly when I upload videos. And real quick, let me give a shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Content Soul channel, the best way you could do that is going to be by joining my Patreon. And if you decide to become a paid Patreon member, I'm going to add you to my Pokemon Go friends list. So that means for stuff like remote raids, the friendship system, opening and sending gifts, different things like that. If you want to play Pokemon Go with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. I'll put a link to it in the description below. And if you want to support my channel in a completely different way, you could always do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula. I'm on the platforms you see right now on the bottom of your screen. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow. And that'll be a huge help to my channel, and you'll have access to some exclusive content. And that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself today. Make sure you look in the mirror, tell yourself that you're awesome because I think you are awesome. And I'll catch you all later.